All right, let's jump right in. The whole point of this explainer is to give you a direct, totally objective analysis of the English pronunciation recording you provided. We're going to break down the key patterns to really pinpoint where we can make the biggest improvements. Okay, let's get into it. So right off the bat, here's the overall score, 60 out of 100. Now, what does a number like 60 actually mean? Well, it means the pronunciation is generally understandable. The message gets across. But that score also points to some critical recurring errors with certain sounds that can, and sometimes do, change the meaning of important words. That can cause little moments of confusion for whoever's listening. So, to really understand that 60 out of 100, we've got to dig a little deeper. In this first part, we're going to analyze the specific phonetic patterns, the actual building blocks of speech that led to that overall score. And it's super important to clarify this. This isn't about nitpicking one-off mistakes or slips of the tongue. We're focusing only on the consistent, repeated patterns of error. Why? Because it's these patterns that, once you fix them, will have the biggest possible impact on your overall clarity and fluency. Okay, now this is where things get really interesting, because this table lays out the challenges so clearly. Let's start at the very top, where the scores are the lowest. We've got the R sound at 40 and the L sound at 45. This is mainly because of a consistent difficulty in telling them apart. The perfect example, the word whale was pronounced as world. Right after that, you see the A sound at 50. Instead of that two-part vowel sound you hear in whale, it got kind of flattened into a simple eh sound, which made it sound like well. Then there's the short is sound, scoring a 55. We saw a really clear swap here. The script said swim, but the audio said seam, which shows some confusion between the short I and the long I. The good news is the other sounds are produced much more accurately. That's great, because it means we can be super targeted in what we practice. So let's move on and see how this all comes together. I mean, knowing the tricky sounds is one thing, but seeing how they actually show up in real words, that's where the practice really begins. So now we're going to look at 10 specific words that really shine a light on these patterns. And I want you to think of this list not as a criticism, but as a roadmap, okay? These 10 words are your high-impact targets. If you can master these, you will directly fix the phonetic issues we just talked about. And believe me, your overall pronunciation score will get a significant boost. Okay, here's our first set. Number 1 is whale. And honestly, this word is a gold mine for practice because just mispronouncing it touches on those 3 key issues we saw, the L, the R, and the A sounds. Number 2 is swim, which was pronounced seam, and that really highlights that confusion between the short if and long e. Third, we have humpback, which kind of came out as Hamburg, showing there's a little challenge with making that distinct av vowel sound. And then numbers 4 and 5, world and well, they're on the list because those were the words that were accidentally swapped in for whale. It shows exactly what sounds you need to practice telling apart. All right, moving on, we've got seam at number 6. This is basically the other side of the swim coin. Practicing these two together as a pair is absolutely crucial for training your ear and your mouth to really feel that difference. The last 4 words, difficult, currently, injuries, and unlikely, these are here to help build consistency. For instance, holding on to that short it sound from swim can be tricky in a longer word like difficult. And making sure the R sound in currently and injuries is nice and clear is key. Practicing these words helps you apply the fixes across more complex stuff. So, here's the main takeaway, the most important point. The most significant challenges, that R versus L confusion and the flattened A sound, they are all wrapped up in the mispronunciation of just one word, whale. It's a perfect example of how focusing on one high-leverage word can actually solve multiple problems all at once. And that brings us to the end of our diagnostic. We've got the score, we've broken down the phonetic challenges, and we've put together a really targeted list of words to work on. So this just leaves us with one final forward-looking question to think about. What is the most effective way to practice these specific sounds and words? The analysis part is done. Now the focused practice can really begin.